Alright, so I'm sure you're all aware of what happened last year in 2020. Many people around the world were not allowed to leave their homes for anything other than supplies, and they couldn't be out for more than a couple hours. I'm looking at you, Australia. Fortunately for us, me and my fellow Ohioans, we were never completely barred from going outside and enjoying the world, but many of us chose to stay in regardless. And because we were told to stay indoors, and since many of us did, TV and movie streaming services subscriptions jumped through the roof. They rose by over 37% last year alone. And Disney Plus gained 73 million subscribers. However, the film industry was shut down and has recently started to open up again to us peasants who consume the fodder that's being put out recently. Recently, the film industry has been composed of hard reboots, soft reboots, and overall uncreative ideas. Just think, how many truly creative ideas have emerged in movies over the past 10 years? How many of them are completely new concepts? Red Dawn, Lord of the Flies, Ocean's 11, Aladdin, The Lion King, amongst many, many others have all been, or have all received reboots in the past decade. And no, movies that are based on books do not count either. So, Marvel, DC, Hunger Games, they don't count. Sorry. I'm in no way saying that these movies are bad. It's just they're just so uncreative. It gets so bland and boring. And we want to see new ideas. We want to see Hollywood be creative again, and not. We want to see Hollywood be creative again and not plagiarism. Again, I'm in no way, shape, or form saying that reboots and remakes cannot be good movies, but it does get pretty tiresome to see an advertisement for the. Or it does get pretty tiresome to see the fifth advertisement for a reboot that day. That being said, taking an idea and morphing it into your own idea and creating your own concepts off of that is still pretty creative, I think. And there are some movies that did this quite well and were quite successful. Titanic, Star Wars, and Indiana Jones all took the competing movies of their time to the cleaners in terms of gross revenue. And many times today, Hollywood can't even do that. It is possible to be creative and be successful. But take a look at Walter Disney. He was a young, hungry, and creative man and who could animate extremely well. And it turns out that that can actually be a pretty successful formula. I mean, just take a look at what he's built based on his pure imagination. Hell, his ideas have even been turned into the world's most successful theme park chain. And now, poor Walt is rolling over in his grave because the company that he has built has tarnished his image because they've just been so uncreative recently. Like, you're Disney. You're supposed to be creative geniuses, not copycats. Recently, the only things that the House of Mouse has done in terms of movies is A, buy other people's ideas, B, add on to existing ideas, and C, remake their own ideas from the past. And they're smart in doing so, actually because many of us tend to eat that up. And Disney turns a pretty big profit from being lazy. Disney's not the only one that's guilty of not creating their own ideas. Universal is another frequent offender. I mean, take a look at Jurassic Park, or I'm sorry, Jurassic World now, or Harry Potter. Now, I did read most of the Jurassic Park book, and I really cannot blame Universal for wanting to take the ideas in that book and get Steven Spielberg to direct a movie for them. I am in absolutely no way, shape, or form saying that that remakes, reboots, and sequels cannot be good. I have a guilty confession to make. I actually rather enjoyed the Star Wars sequels. I do think that the series should have ended after Return of the Jedi, because that is where the story arc came to a natural end. But otherwise, they were pretty good movies, despite there being a lot of extremely similar plot points. I'm a pretty big fan of Marvel movies. Logan, Deadpool 2, and the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies are all some of my favorite movies of all time, overall. Jurassic Park was a pretty good movie, I thought. And I do want to see Jurassic World at Universal Studio. Islands of Adventure, sure, down in Orlando, and especially now that they just opened up a Velocicoaster. And for those of you who don't know what Velocicoaster is, it's an extreme roller coaster with what's supposed to have immaculate theme. I'm not entirely opposed to seeing movies that are based on pre-existing ideas. I would just prefer to see more brand new concepts with interesting trailers and good plot point or in a good plot, good story arc. We're gonna start a new slogan: make Hollywood creative again. How about that? Movies are not the only form of entertainment that is bland and uninspiring and uncreative nowadays. Music is just as bland, just as uncreative, just as uninspiring, and just as much the same, pretty much. A lot of music nowadays is more bland than the most bland ice cream. Or it's more vanilla than the most vanilla ice cream story the world has to offer. How many truly creative ideas have emerged in the world of music recently? I'm a fan of various genres, as to be honest with you. I like country, I like rock and roll. Long live rock and roll, by the way. And I do think that hip-hop has some pretty good songs as well. Here's the catch, though. rock and roll is dead, unfortunately. And as for the other two genres I mentioned, well, their songs sound the same, pretty much. Seemingly every time I listen to the radio with my sister, there's a song that comes on that I think it is Ariana Grande, and it turns out to be Billie Eilish or something. Or I will listen to a new song by Luke Combs, and I will occasionally mistake it for Blake Shelton. And that may say a little bit more about me, but come on, like there have been numerous times where I legitimately thought they sounded the same. There is very little distinction in the styles of artists nowadays, and gone are the days where you could listen to a song and go, oh yeah, that's Bon Scott, and oh, he's got such a memorable voice, or oh yeah, that's Alan Jackson, singing It's 5 o'clock somewhere. It's 5 o'clock somewhere with Jimmy Buffett, and then two of the most memorable voices in the world of music today. Nobody cares that music professors can put out the same bland, boring crap anymore. On that note, this video will come to a close. Thank you all so much for watching. If you liked it, drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe to my Patreon, where you'll get exclusive benefits. And top tier members will get to see videos early. Oh, and also don't forget to subscribe here so you don't miss a video on YouTube either. Alright, I'll catch you all later.